I'm tired of hearing about ship dynamics, because the only dynamic in media that matters is a washed-up 40-something and their unwilling adopted child who they would die for. Why is it when someone time travels to the past and meets their past self, it's always to warn them about the future? Why doesn't anybody ever come back and say, hey, life gets a hell of a lot better? Character is hugged and is completely baffled by receiving physical affection is a good trope, but consider character says no to a hug and is completely baffled when the other person happily respects their boundaries. Finds out my nemesis has a peanut allergy. Puts peanut oil in my water bottle. Goes to meet nemesis. Confesses love. Drinks peanut oil. Kisses them. I think I've won. Plot twist. They planned this. They aren't allergic to peanuts. And now we're dating. Oh shit. Man, I'm tired of only having dudes in the young adult fiction books only be 6 foot and above. It's like the authors have an allergy to short guys or something. Create short guys and make them just as complex characters without their height being a comic relief or unattractive trait, you cowards. Also, to all my fellow short boys and men out there, you're all epic. Oh god, it really is all about the tender forehead touch. Good trope. Villain parent with a villain child is a surprisingly good parent. An idea. The enemies to lovers trope, but they're both evil, and all the dates are them beating up the good guys. Female characters in media, covered in blood, dirt, grime, tying their hair back in a ponytail before getting ready to mess someone up in battle. Hold on a second. Man, hold on a second. Personally speaking, I don't prefer, I fell in love with you without even realizing it. I fell for you even before I knew. When I choose to love you because you are such a bewitching person. Even if the world is against us, through all the troubles, I'll still fight for a way to choose to love you exists. It's like they choose to yearn, wish, and love you on purpose. It's the way there are billions of others who they could be with, but they intentionally choose to love you. I don't know what will be more romantic than this. Must I go to therapy? Is it not enough to simply go on a magical adventure to save the world with a ragtag group where we develop a found family dynamic and help each other through our traumas? Honey, derogatory, idiot, affectionate. What's the better dynamic? Long-suffering wizard master and their ditzy wizardling, or long-suffering wizardling and their off-the-wall eccentric wizard master? Honestly, there's no trope I hate more than everything goes wrong on the wedding day. Not only is it the most overplayed trope in existence, but seriously, what's with the conflict anyway? Give your audience 20 to 40 minutes of pure, unadulterated fluff. At this point in the story, characters have usually been through hell and back anyway. Let them be happy for a day. None of this unnecessary last-minute drama. Plot be damned, conflict must kneel before peace in the end. Let characters be sincerely happy, you cowards! There is a place for joy in storytelling too, especially after pain. You know that trope where character A is watching character B be taken away, like kidnapping, forced summoning, or they have to go somewhere but got on the vehicle taking them before character A could see them off, and can't do anything about it or never got the chance to say goodbye, and just runs after them as fast as they can, screaming their name, but can never catch up and can only watch them disappear into the distance? Drives me insane. Could be platonic between best friends, between family members like siblings or a parent or guardian and their child, or lovers, but every time it just shatters my heart and I love it. The hopelessness, the angst, the sheer desperation to run just a little faster, having them be so close but getting farther and farther away no matter how hard you push yourself to keep going. I love it. A random trope I love is characters who can't cook but are very adamant that they can, and everyone else has to suffer for it. Gotta love it when the protagonist starts out in the series being idealistic, driven, and always smiling. Then you just watch them slowly lose their faith in humanity and themselves and their spark as the series continues on. A type of parent I go feral over is like, who else could it be but you? Not soulmates in a predestined way, but in the way that their lives are so entwined and so much of their self was shaped by the other that to have anyone else at their side is just unthinkable. The kind of love that's like, I am who I am because of you, and I've trusted you with my life, and you rise to the occasion every time. And you believed in me when no one else did, when I didn't think I deserved it. The kind of love that's so obvious from the outside looking in, but when you're in the midst of it, it's so pervasive to where it encompasses both your lives so completely that you can't imagine a life without it, without them. The kind of love where one confesses and the other is surprised. But isn't it obvious? Who else already holds my heart in their hands and has protected it so dearly? Who else can I trust with the most tender parts of me and know I'll be cared for and not found wanting? Who else is my better half, the person who makes anywhere feel like home? And then it all clicks into place. Really, who else could it be? Who else could it be but you? Villain? The hero asked incredulously. You saved me? Their nemesis tilted their head, blinking once, twice. Of course, they said simply. You and I have a very special relationship, hero. One that I could never have with anyone else. The villain walked up to the hero, holding their hand out to help them up. So naturally, to keep that special relationship alive, they continued, I'll absolutely step in to ensure you don't die. Trope where a character's grief isn't exactly the normal response that it should be. Like, oh, instead of being incredibly depressed, they're just angry. So angry that they start throwing things around. Their living space is complete chaos and there's not a single thing left unturned. And when that anger dissipates and they finally calm down to take the chance to reflect, the weight of what's happened to either them or someone else finally settles against them, and they just stop. They stop and they sit there and they just cry. Here's a very unpopular opinion. I like it when one character offers to sleep on the couch in the there was only one bed trope. Like, are you telling me they had the opportunity to sleep in the same bed with their crush, but they decided against it to respect them and not cross any possible boundaries? How attractive is that? And also, it's a lot more realistic, because who would even share the bed with someone when there's a couch? Are y'all raised like that? Like you genuinely can't sleep on a couch? Period media set in eras where big beards and mustaches were fashionable is great because you can literally communicate a character's entire personality just by how they styled their facial hair. The best trait you can give a tall and imposing character is easily flustered. I don't care how many people they've bested in combat, someone cute flirting with them should be enough to make them go, ugh. The best trope in the world is when a character realizes that they're in love with another character, and instead of being bashful or cute about it, their internal monologue is just like, no, God, why? This character who is flawed, traumatized, and hurting cannot be saved by love, but they can choose recovery because they are loved trope, makes me just... I think I need to lay down. Appreciating that a character is well written does not mean agreeing with their actions or decisions. Let's hear it for the criminally underused trope. All of my dates have been horrible, but you're the cute waiter or waitress who has worked my table every time and has talked to me to make me feel better after each disaster. I don't care if you think it's cliche. If character A says, let's go home, and character B looks into their eyes with a comforting smile and says, I'm already home, you will hear me wailing. Every single time. Liars. I love liars. Maybe they're lying to save someone. Maybe they're protecting their friends. Maybe someone is hurt and they can't let anyone know. Maybe they are the hurt ones. Maybe they're so used to lying that they lie about the smallest things, trying to make their life seem perfect to everyone around them. Maybe they're lying for a bad reason. Maybe they're trying to hurt someone. Maybe they're lying to conceal a hidden plan they've been plotting to take the good guys down. Maybe they're a double agent, a spy, hidden amongst a team. Maybe they've been lying this whole time. Maybe they lie about their identity, their age, their friends. Maybe they lie about their pains, their wants, their fears. Maybe they lie about being a good person. Maybe about being a bad person. Maybe, but no matter what it is, it's still a lie. One of my favorite tropes ever is when person A and person B are admiring the stars or a beautiful landscape or piece of art, and person A goes, wow, it's beautiful. And person B is looking at person A when they reply, yeah, beautiful. That stuff gets my heart every single time. You know what really gets me going? When two characters hug or touch or are really near each other and one of them does this big, deep sigh. Because when they are with this person, they are able to release all of the tension they had been holding in and completely relax. That stuff kills me. On the subject of wolves with wings that have angel powers, mountain biking vampire witches from the future, radioactive cyberpunk catgirls in combat boots, pastel goth vampires that ride Pegasi, were-tigers from space with fairy blood, and other such cringy DeviantArt OC type characters, isn't the main criticism of them that they're like, overly indulgent and special self-inserts? Well, that criticism doesn't really work if, every character in your story is like that. Just saying. 10 character tropes I'd like to see more often. Bitter chosen ones. Stoic men accidentally adopting children. Disabled characters whose disabilities have nothing to do with magic powers. The social reject who accepts themselves and doesn't become a popular extrovert at the end of the book. People of color and/or LGBTQ+ main characters in stories that aren't about them being different. Self-aware main characters who are done with everyone's antics. Feral girls. Morally gray characters who constantly struggle with their moral values. Families going on fantasy adventures. Parents realizing they weren't good parents and trying to do something about it. The problem with reducing preferences and discourse about books to tropes that I like versus tropes that I dislike is that whether or not a book is good or meets your taste is never actually about the tropes it uses, and almost entirely up to execution. I like slow burn romances and found families, but I won't like the book if the writing is weak and the characters aren't compelling. I don't like love triangles and chosen one stories, but I'll probably love the book anyway if the author crafts a complex and layered narrative. It's not about the tropes, it's about the writing.